Hi, Chef Robert at the Willow Room. Today we're going to be making a fresh tomato sauce. This time of year you can find fresh tomatoes anywhere, gardens, local produce stands. If you go to a produce stand, they usually have some blemished tomatoes that are a lot cheaper than the ones that aren't blemished, and those work great for a fresh tomato sauce. What we're going to do is take a tomato, and to remove the skin, I'm going to cut an X right in the bottom of it. I'm going to take this core out. And I have water that's at a boil, rolling boil, and I'm going to put these tomatoes in the water. The recipe I have on the website calls for 8 tomatoes. That should be enough to serve maybe 4 or 5 people. If you need more, just double the recipe. So, here we go. I have the boiling water. I'm going to drop these in there. That's only going to take about 30 seconds to a minute. While that's going, I have some extra virgin olive oil. We're going to start heating this pan. The olive oil. Want to dice our onion. If you recall from previous recipes, this is a proper way to dice an onion. Make horizontal cuts and then perpendicular cuts. Depending on how small you like to dice, I want this very small, so I'm making my cuts pretty close together. If you want a larger dice, make cuts farther apart. And there we have nice diced onion. Okay, so we need, let's see, 1 cup of this diced onion. It's going to go into our pan with our extra virgin olive oil. You want to get 5 cloves of fresh garlic. I've already chopped it, but you just peel it and then chop it very fine like this. So we need 5 cloves. And it's been about a minute for our tomatoes. When you look at these, see, this needs to be in a little longer. I'm trying to peel it and it's not coming off too easy, so that tells me it needs to go in just for a little while longer. Alright, the tomatoes are ready. We're going to take them out. Here I have an ice bath. It's just ice and water. That's going to pop the skin on the tomatoes. Let them set in there for just a minute. The garlic and onion we're just going to sweat that for about 4 minutes. You always want to be aware of the garlic because it gets too brown, makes a nasty taste. So let's see how our tomatoes are looking. Alright. With the knife, I'm just going to peel that skin off. See how easy it comes off. It's a very easy and inexpensive thing to do. It's not too time consuming, as you'll see here. Once again, you'd be doing this with 8 tomatoes. So take this. This is already quartered. The next step is to cut this into quarters. And this is called concassing the tomato. What you want to do here, we're going to remove the seeds from the tomato. If you left the seeds in, they have a little bit of bitterness to them. So I like to do this over a strainer to catch any juice that may be falling out of the tomato. So as you can see, we just in one tomato, we've got some pretty tasty juice there. I'm just going to toss this right into our sauce pan there. Alright, after you have the tomatoes concassate, I'm going to dice them up. Like that. Gone ahead and diced up the other 8 already here. So out of the 8 tomatoes, I've reserved 1. What we're going to do is, just like we did with the other ones, we're going to concassate it, remove the seeds, and then I'm going to run this through a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, a blender works just as well. Tomatoes. And we're just gonna drop them in the food processor. And I'm gonna just puree this up a little bit. Put a little bit of juice, so I touch the water. Now we have a little bit of more pureed tomato with juice. That's going to go into our saute pan where we're going to make our sauce. The next thing we're going to do is get our basil ready after we put our tomatoes in the sauce. Next thing we're going to do is prepare our basil here. We're going to chiffonade this. That's a French term that means thin strips, but it's real easy to do. This is a bunch of basil I have here. If you take the leaves, I already picked this off the branch of basil. Just put them together like this, fold them over, then over again. Okay. We take our knife and just basically julienne these. That's what it's going to leave. You always want to put fresh basil in at the very last step of the recipe. I'm going to saute this for about 5 to 10 minutes just to let the juices come out of the tomato, all the flavors melt together. Okay, the basil chiffonade, we've chiffonaded it in. Next step, put it in the sauce. You can see some of the moistures coming out of the tomato. Looking nice and scrumptious right now. We're going to season it with a little kosher salt. That's totally up to your preference how much salt. It's fresh ground black pepper. I cook the pasta ahead of time, which you can do if you're having a dinner party, just to save you a step. If you do this ahead of time, just chill it off, run it under cold water, toss it in a little oil. But I have boiling water ready to go here, so I'm going to drop that in there for about 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to drain this. That into a bowl. That's it. Bring our sauce over here. tossed in it. Top it off with a little more sauce. I have some shredded Asiago cheese here. Finish it off. And there you have it. It's a very nice dish for this time of year. Like I said, inexpensive. Didn't take us too long to make it, and it's delicious. So, until next time, eat well. Thanks.